Shalom. This is Yehuda Glick from the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation in Jerusalem. Today, Sunday, April 26th, 2020. Today is the second of the second month of the Hebrew Biblical month calendar, ER. And today, we're going to speak about a very interesting topic. Today, this week, the Druze community, by the way, the Druze are a religion which was developed in the Arab world. And they refer to themselves as El Al-Muwahdin, which means a people of monotheism. And they identify themselves with a prophet called Shuaib. And according to their tradition, their prophet Shuaib was no other than Jithro, the father-in-law of Moses. Moses, who wrote the 5 books of Moses, the Torah, given to the people of Israel on Mount Sinai. So Moses, his father-in-law Jithro, and this week, as I said, the Druze, the Al-Muwahdin, the people of monotheism, are celebrating, according to their religion, the Ziyara, the holiday of the Nabi Shuaib. In honor of that, I want to speak today. Shalom to those who are joining us today, and wherever you are, tell us where you're from. Today, I want to speak about the relationship between Moses and his father-in-law, Jithro. And in order to do that, I'm going to invite you to join me and read from the book, from the Bible. Shalom to our friend from Ontario, Canada. Shalom. I want to read the story and the relationship between Moses and Jithro. Shalom to in New Jersey also as well. Shalom. So I want to join me on this wonderful journey of the meetings between Moses and Jithro. So we'll begin. The first time we know he appears is on the book of Exodus, chapter 2, on verse 13. Moses, it says, he goes out on the second day and he sees 2 people fighting. In verse 12, we saw that Moses came out, and it says he went out and saw his people. Went out, we'll read the verse in Hebrew and in English. Vayehi bayamim hahem. I'm reading in chapter 2, verse 11. And it came to pass in those days that Moses grew up. As you recall, Moses grows up. He actually has 2 mothers. His biological mother, the daughter of Levi, as it begins. But Moses grows up actually in the house of a different mother. He's born in another womb, in the box, in the teva, in the basket that the daughter of Pharaoh found. So Moses was fed by his biological mother. Shalom from Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom, Rivka. So Moses was fed by his biological mother after the intervention of his sister, and that was taken care of. But actually, Moses grows up in the house of Pharaoh. And the time comes, and Moses grows up, and he goes out to his brothers, and he sees the burdens. And he sees an Egyptian man beating up, striking a Hebrew man of his brothers. Now, the repetition of the word brothers in this sentence immediately should ring a bell and tell us which one of his brothers. And it would be interesting to say that Moses is going out to see all of his brothers. His brothers from the biological point of view, the Jews, the Hebrewites, and his brothers from where he grew up. And what does he see? He sees an Egyptian striking a Jewish man. And he says to himself, oh my God, I don't want to be part of this, brothers. I don't want to be part of a nation that beats up some other nation. I don't want to be part of lack of justice. And therefore, he turns to his other brothers, to his national identified brothers, to the brothers, his Hebrew brothers. And on the second day, he goes out, and behold, he sees two Hebrew men. And they're quarreling. And he's sure that something wrong is going on here. He says to the wicked one, why are you going to strike your friend? He refers to the wicked one. He says to him, why are you doing that? And what does he answer? He answers, Mi Samcha, in verse 14. Who made you a man, a prince, a judge over us? Mi Samcha, Ish, Sar, V'shofet Aleinu. Do you plan to slay me as you have slain the Egyptian? And Moses becomes frightened. He realizes, number one, that people know his secret. They know what he had done the day before to the Egyptian who was beating up the Hebrewite. But also, what happens? He decides to escape. He decides to run away. He decides to flee from before Pharaoh. Why does he decide to flee from before Pharaoh? Because when Moses gets up to go out of his house, to see what's going on, he wanted to find which is the real identity. Where will he find justice? Where will he find a man standing up for justice? And he sees he can't find it among his Egyptian families, brothers, and he can't find it among the Jews, the Hebrewites. And he is totally disappointed. He's frustrated. He's frustrated because of what he sees. He doesn't understand, and he's frightened. It says, Vayira Moshe. He's frightened, but what is he frightened of? Not only because he's afraid of what Pharaoh's going to do to him. He's afraid of what has happened, what he sees. Because when Moses is told by the Hebrewite, listen, are you going to do to me what you did to your father? And he says to him, who appointed you as a man, as an ish, as a sar, as a minister, shofet, as a judge? We don't want that kind. We don't want a judge. We don't want a person who's looking for justice here. We're enjoying what we see here. And Moses is feared because he's in despair. He's in despair of what he sees. Shalom to Beverly from Texas. Moses is in despair for what he sees. He says, is there a chance? Is there a chance to help? Is there a chance to save my people? And when it says, Achen nodah hadavar, when Moses says in verse 14, he says, Moses became frightened. He said, indeed, the matter has become known. What does it mean, the matter has become known? It means I understand maybe the reasoning why my people are suffering. Shalom from Stockholm to Elsie. He understands, the story is known. We are in the book Exodus chapter 2. Moses is suffering in Egypt because they're not interested in justice. And now we go into the story. Moses escapes and he goes to Midian and he sits down on the well. We know that sitting on the well is a story that takes place with the servant of Abraham, with Jacob, where they get married there. But Moses comes to the well and he doesn't meet a young lady. He meets 7. Vayavo, Midian, and the chief of Midian has 7 daughters. And they came to draw water. They filled their troughs with water of their father's flocks. But the shepherds came and drove them away. And Moses arose and rescued them and watered the flocks. So Moses, he sees the 7 daughters of Reuel, Jithro. He goes and he sees them being attacked, being driven away by the shepherds, and he rescued them. And they left him. And they come home, and their father Reuel says to them, "Why have you come home so quickly today?" He's used to the fact that the situation is as it is. And they replied, "Ish Mitzri hitzlanu." An Egyptian man rescued us. Ish Mitzri. An Egyptian man rescued us. Hitzilanu. From the hands of the shepherds. And he watered the flocks. Jithro, here's the sentence. A person, an Ish, saved somebody who cared. He says, where is he? Verse 20, Exodus 2, verse 20, where is he? Why have you left the man? Lama azavtem et ha'ish, the man. I want to remind you before, when Moses came out and he saw, it says, he looked both ways in verse 12. He turned this way and this way, and he was looking, vayarki ein ish. There is no man. The word ish, the word in Hebrew Adam, is standard for humanity. But the word ish is somebody who's standing on his feet and understands and cares. And when Jithro says, where is the ish? You saw an ish. Why did you leave the man, the ish, the man? And they go call Moses. And what does it say? Verse 21, Moses consented to stay with the man. Moses finally found a man. He didn't find it among the Egyptians who were attacking the Hebrewites. He didn't find it among the Hebrewites that were fighting between each other. He found it with Jithro. Moses was looking for an ish, and Jithro was looking for an ish. And what ish were they looking for? An ish that rescues, an ish that helps, an ish that cares, a person who cares. We saw that the Hebrewites that were fighting, they said, we don't want an ish who is a minister, who is a judge. We're not interested in that kind of ish. But Moses was desperately looking for an ish. And Moses and Jithro at the same time was also looking for a person who cares. And now we can go over to the next time we meet Jithro. After the story of the people of Israel, the Hebrewites are redeemed from Egypt. And it says, and now Moses' father-in-law, Jithro, the chief of Midian, he hears, I'm reading in Exodus chapter 18, he hears that somebody has rescued the people of Israel from Egypt. Who is that someone? The one and only. And he wants to come and connect. And he comes with his family to Moses, who is parked, who is encamped in the mountain of God. And Moses comes out to him, and then it says, why did Jithro come? And thereupon, reading in verse 10, Jithro said, blessed is the Lord who has rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians. We remember the word lehatzil. When he heard that his daughters were rescued by Moses. And now Jithro comes because he heard that God rescued, lehatzil, the same exact term, the same exact verb, rescued the people of Israel from Egypt. And then he sees the next day that Moses is sitting down to judge the people. And he says to Moses, what are you doing? Why are you sitting from the morning to the evening? And Moses says, for the people come to me to seek God. If any of them has a case, he comes to me, and I judge between a man and his neighbor, and I make them know the statutes of God and his teachings. I want to remind you, in chapter 2, what had exactly happened when he saw the two Hebrewites fighting, And he says to the wicked one, why are you harming your friend, your neighbor? Lama takeh re'echa, in verse 13. And exactly the same thing we were having here. Now in Exodus 18, Moses wants to establish the relationship between people and neighbor through the words of God. And then Jithro says to Moses, listen, I'm a chief of Midian. I know how to run a nation. And I want to tell you, this is the way to do it. Look for, what I should look for in verse 21? Look for men of substance, ish anshei chayil, men of truth. Look for ish. Look for the plural of ish, men of substance, men of truth. And then you will have leaders, sarei alafim, using the word sar, learning the word ish, and veshaftu, and they will judge the nation. The nation that we saw at the beginning, where Moses was so in despair because he saw they were fighting between each other. They didn't want ish. They didn't want somebody who was a minister, somebody who was a judge. They wanted to continue in this situation. And here we see that Moses goes ahead in verse 25, following the guidance of Jithro. Vayivchar, verse 25, Moses chooses men of substance out of all of Israel, and he appointed them as the heads of the people, leaders of thousands, leaders of hundreds, leaders of 50s, and leaders of 10s. This is exactly what Moses was looking for. He was not looking for Hebrewites. He was not looking for Jews. He was looking for people who care. People who care. And Jithro and Moses find themselves. And it's very interesting. The Torah, right before the chapter of the meeting between Jithro and Moses, in chapter 17, we have a different story of non-Jews who come to Israelites. Amalek, who are the symbol of hating the people of Israel. But not only that, they're the symbol of those who are trying to look for the weak. What does it happen? What does it say? Vayavo Amalek, and Amalek came, using the same verb as it says about Jithro in chapter 18. Vayavo Jithro. Amalek came and Jithro came. Jithro came to cooperate with the Jewish people, to cooperate with the people that were saved by God, to connect to God. Amalek comes to fight. And we see the Torah use Bechar, the same thing in Moses. Bechar Anashim, choose people. They use the same words. But Amalek choose people to fight with people to serve as judges. And it continues on, we see, it says, V'yedei Moshe kvedim, and Moses' hands were heavy. The exact same thing it says in chapter 18. When Jithro sees, he sees that the word kaved, that the activity of Moses is too much for him. It's using the same verb. And we see another thing that appears. And this is very interesting. Whenever the Israelites are fighting against Amalek, there will always be the term, the way to win is machar, tomorrow. Tomorrow you will stand up, and at verse 9, tomorrow you will stand at the top of the hill with the staff of God. The Amalek people, who are looking to look for the weak sides, they don't have it tomorrow. They're only listening to survive today. They don't have people that look for the future. Jithro comes to Moses and he sits tomorrow also. But he's tomorrow to appoint judges, to establish a social justice system, learning to people to live together. So Moses does not have any problem. He wants to connect to anybody who cares. He's looking for an ish. He's looking for an ish who wants to establish a justice system, and he's willing to overcome. He will fight against those who fight against Israel, who are preventing the people of Israel from getting the Torah, who are preventing the people of Israel from establishing any kind of justice system, who are looking at to become terrorists and to attack the people of Israel at the weaker parts. That's Amalek. But Jithro, who comes from the non-Jewish world as well, it's somebody who cares for the justice in the name of God. and who cares to help. We see the verb that appeared again, lehatzil, to rescue. We see that they're looking for ish, for people who care, for people who want justice in the world. This is the story of Moses and Jithro. The cooperation today in our time, the Druze who are cooperating with the people of Israel. They serve as soldiers in the Israeli IDF, the Israel Defense Forces. They serve as people who are protecting truth. They serve as people who, together with the people of Israel, are looking to be monotheist, to believe in one God, and to understand that we're all part of one community. And they want to cooperate. They want to cooperate to bring the light of God to the world. The cooperation between the people of Israel and the Druze is very strong cooperation from the very beginning of the state of Israel. So today, when they mark their holiday, I want to wish all the Druze people and all over the world a wonderful holiday of love, holiday of justice, especially in these days where we're all isolated and we sort of don't have a connection, and people are suffering health issues, and people are suffering losing their jobs and losing their work. Shalom from Germany. Amen. Perfect Torah. Shalom. Shalom to those who joined us. And today, when the Druze are celebrating their holiday of Jithro, the connection between the people of Moses and his father-in-law Jithro, and the idea of working together and cooperating, all nations together who are searching for justice in the name of God. We are partners. We are here to shake hands and to work together to establish and to look ahead at the future, at the machar, at the tomorrow, and not only to live on the today. So from Jerusalem, I want to wish you all a shalom. I want to wish us all a cooperation time. I want to wish all the Druze community a happy holiday. And I want to invite you all to join us on the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation website, shalomjerusalem.org, the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation YouTube channel, and the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation Facebook. Be in touch with us, connect with us, and together we will bring the light of God to the world. Shalom from Jerusalem. Love you all.